Ladies and gentlemen, motivation feels good. Motivation can fire you up for a moment. But here's the truth: motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. You see, motivation is like a spark. It can light the fire, but it won't keep the fire burning. Discipline is the wood you throw into that fire every single day, whether you feel like it or not. How many times have you felt motivated, set big goals, got excited, and then after a week, after a month, the fire went cold? That's because motivation is an emotion. It comes and it goes. But discipline is a decision. Discipline is a commitment. Discipline says, I will show up. I will keep moving. I will do the work. Tired or not, ready or not, motivated or not. Ladies and gentlemen, success is never about how you feel. It's about what you repeatedly do. Champions are not made on the days they feel good. Champions are made on the days they feel tired, broken, defeated, and they still keep going. When you look at the great achievers in history, you'll find one common thread. They mastered the art of discipline. They didn't rely on moods. They built habits. They turned their life into a system of daily victories. So today, I challenge you, stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop waiting for that feeling. Because if you depend on feelings, you'll live a life of excuses. But if you depend on discipline, you'll build a life of greatness. Remember this: discipline will take you places motivation could never carry you. So stand up, make the choice, build the habit, and let your discipline become the bridge that carries you to your destiny. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. You see, motivation is like that spark you feel when you watch a powerful video, when you hear a moving story, when someone tells you that you can do it. It lights you up inside. It gets your heart racing. It makes you feel like you can take on the world. But here's the truth: that feeling doesn't last. By tomorrow morning, the fire dies down. By next week, the excitement is gone. And if all you have is motivation, then your dreams will stop the moment the feeling fades. But discipline is different. Discipline is what carries you forward when the feeling is no longer there. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when the alarm clock rings at 5 a.m. and your body says no. Discipline is what pushes you to the gym when your mind says, I don't feel like it. Discipline is what keeps you studying when everyone else is out having fun. Discipline is the decision to do what you must do long after the mood you made the decision in has left you. I want you to think about it. Every great achiever, every successful person you admire, they weren't motivated every single day. No, they had days they didn't want to move, days they wanted to quit, days they felt tired, broken, discouraged. But discipline spoke louder than their excuses. Discipline became their habit. And because of that, they rose above the average. Motivation is emotional, but discipline is logical. Motivation says, I feel good, let's go. Discipline says, I made a commitment and I'm not backing down. Motivation is like a visitor. It comes and goes. Discipline is a resident. It moves in, it takes over, it becomes part of who you are. When you rely on motivation, you'll find yourself stopping and starting, up and down, hot and cold. But when you build discipline, you create momentum. And momentum is powerful because momentum doesn't ask how you feel. Momentum doesn't care if you're tired. Momentum doesn't stop for excuses. It just moves forward because discipline fuels it day after day, step after step. So the real secret isn't how motivated you are. The real secret is how disciplined you're willing to be when the motivation disappears, because it will. And when it does, will you stop or will you keep going? Greatness isn't found in short bursts of energy. Greatness is found in the long grind, the daily consistency, the refusal to quit when others do. And that doesn't come from motivation. That comes from discipline. So don't just chase the feeling, build the habit. Don't just wait for inspiration, Commit to action, because motivation may start the race, but only discipline will carry you across the finish line. Success is not built on feelings, but on consistent actions. Feelings are temporary, unpredictable, and unreliable. They come and go like the weather. Sunny one day, stormy the next. If you live your life based on how you feel, you will never achieve greatness, because feelings will talk you out of discipline. They will talk you out of progress. They will talk you out of your destiny. But consistent action, that's the foundation. That's the rock that greatness stands on. You can't build a future on, I feel like it today and I don't feel like it tomorrow. You can't get results by only showing up when it's convenient. Success doesn't respond to moods. Success responds to habits. When you do the right thing again and again, day after day, you create a rhythm, a discipline, a momentum that feelings cannot touch. Think about the farmer. He doesn't plant seeds only on the days he feels motivated. He plants because it's the season to plant. He waters because it's the season to water. He wakes up early, whether he feels like it or not, because he knows consistent action brings the harvest. Success is the same way. You don't get results overnight. You don't get them by luck. You get them through repetition, through showing up, through persistence. Feelings are deceptive. They whisper, rest a little longer, skip this one time, do it tomorrow. And if you listen to them, you create a life of delay and regret. But when you train yourself to act consistently, when you make it a habit to show up no matter what, you take control away from your feelings and give power to your destiny. Every great athlete, every entrepreneur, every world changer you admire didn't get there because they felt good every day. They got there because they acted on days they didn't feel good. They ran when they were tired. They practiced when they were uninspired. They worked when they were discouraged. And because they acted consistently, their actions compounded, their skills sharpened, their results multiplied. Consistency is the bridge between goals and success. Without it, you're always starting over, always chasing the spark, always waiting for the right moment. With it, you build layer upon layer, step upon step, until you look back one day and realize you've built a life of progress, a tower of achievements, a legacy of greatness. So stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And start asking, did I do it? Because success doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to your actions. And when you choose consistent action over fleeting emotion, you put yourself in the rare category of people who don't just dream about success. They live it, they breathe it, they achieve it. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's the dividing line between those who dream and those who achieve. Anybody can act when it's easy, when the sun is shining, when the mood is right. But discipline is proven in the dark mornings, in the tired nights, in the moments when your body says, I can't, and your mind says, I don't want to. Discipline answers back. Do it anyway. There will always be days you don't feel like working, days you don't feel like studying, days you don't feel like moving forward. If your life is built on feelings, those days will control you. They will stop you. They will convince you to wait for tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes for those who bow to their feelings. Discipline is what gives you power over those lies. Discipline says, you may not feel like it, but you made a promise. You may not feel like it, but you set a goal. You may not feel like it, but greatness is waiting. Think about the marathon runner. The finish line isn't crossed in comfort. It's crossed with sweat, pain, and 1,000 thoughts screaming to quit. Yet step by step, discipline carries them forward. Not feeling, not excitement, discipline. That same principle applies to your life. Whether it's building a career, a business, a family, or a legacy, the foundation is laid by showing up when you least want to. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every success story has one hidden chapter, the chapter of discipline. The late nights, the early mornings, the lonely hours where nobody was watching and nobody was cheering. Those are the moments that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Because discipline doesn't need applause. Discipline doesn't need approval. Discipline is driven by commitment, not comfort. When you learn to do what must be done, even when you don't feel like it, you take control of your destiny. You are no longer a slave to moods. You are no longer trapped by procrastination. You become the master of your future. Feelings fluctuate, but discipline anchors you. Feelings change, but discipline builds. Feelings are weak, but discipline is strong. So the question is not, do you feel ready? The real question is, are you disciplined enough to act, ready or not? Because greatness doesn't wait for your feelings to line up. Greatness shows up for those who show up for themselves. Remember, success doesn't require you to feel good every day. It requires you to be disciplined every day. And if you can train yourself to act when you don't feel like it, you'll discover that discipline will take you further than motivation ever could. That's how dreams are built, and that's how destinies are fulfilled. Greatness is not an event, it's a habit. Too many people are waiting for one big break, one magical opportunity, one life-changing moment to transform everything. They believe greatness happens in a flash, in a single speech, in a single deal, in a single performance. But the truth is, greatness is never the result of one event. Greatness is the product of small, repeated actions done consistently over time. It's not what you do once in a while that defines you. It's what you do every day. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly become great. You don't stumble into excellence by accident. Greatness is forged in the furnace of daily discipline. It's built in the routines you repeat, the standards you uphold, the values you refuse to compromise. Every decision, every choice, every action adds up like bricks, stacking one on top of another until one day you look back and see you've built a monument called success. Think about it. The greatest athletes don't just show up on game day. They train every morning, every afternoon, every evening. They practice when the cameras are off, when the stadium is empty, when nobody is watching. The game-winning shot is not about that moment. It's about the thousands of shots they took in silence. The performance you admire is not greatness in that instant. It's the result of years of habits, of repetition, of relentless preparation. The same is true for your life. Don't wait for that one perfect day to prove yourself. Don't wait for that once in a lifetime opportunity to arrive. Instead, focus on the habits you build right now, because your habits will determine your future. If your habits are weak, your future will be shaky. If your habits are strong, your future will be unshakable. Greatness doesn't ask for dramatic events, it asks for daily commitment. It's not about intensity once, it's about consistency always. Anybody can shine for a moment, but greatness belongs to those who shine day after day, even when nobody applauds, even when nobody notices, even when it feels like the effort isn't paying off. The truth is, your habits shape your destiny. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are. If you want greatness, you don't need to wait for luck. You don't need to wait for timing. You don't need to wait for approval. You need to build habits that align with the future you desire. Habits of discipline, habits of persistence, habits of excellence. So stop chasing events and start creating habits. Stop waiting for the big moment and start honoring the small moments. Because greatness doesn't happen in a day, it happens every day. And when you commit to habits that reflect your vision, greatness will not be something you chase, it will be something you become. Discipline transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. You don't have to be born with special talent. You don't need to come from wealth, privilege, or opportunity. What separates the average from the exceptional is not luck. It's not talent, it's discipline. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, they weren't born extraordinary. They became extraordinary because they chose discipline when others chose comfort. An ordinary student can become a brilliant scholar if they discipline themselves to study daily. An ordinary athlete can become a champion if they discipline themselves to train beyond the limits. An ordinary worker can become a leader if they discipline themselves to grow, to learn, to push beyond mediocrity. Discipline is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is how consistent you are in building the life you want. Think about the difference between a dreamer and an achiever. Dreamers imagine what life could be. Achievers discipline themselves to make it reality. Dreamers talk about it. Achievers work for it. Dreamers wait for the right moment. Achievers create the right moment. And the tool that makes the difference every single time is discipline. Discipline says, I will show up whether I feel like it or not. Discipline says, I will stay focused when distractions call my name. Discipline says, I will keep going when the road is hard. And because of that, discipline takes an ordinary person and molds them into someone the world cannot ignore. You don't need to be extraordinary to start. But if you start with discipline, you will not remain ordinary. Over time, your actions stack up. Your effort compounds. Your persistence builds momentum. People may not notice you at first, but eventually the results will be undeniable. The world cannot overlook someone who refuses to quit, someone who shows up day after day, someone who disciplines themselves into greatness. Understand this: talent without discipline is wasted. Intelligence without discipline is scattered. Opportunity without discipline is lost. But even the smallest talent, when paired with unshakable discipline, can grow into something powerful. That's how legends are born, not by chance, but by discipline. So the question is, will you stay ordinary by giving in to excuses, or will you rise above through discipline? Because the choice is yours. Every day you get to decide comfort or commitment, laziness or discipline, average or extraordinary. And here's the good news. You don't have to change everything overnight. You just have to start. Start small, stay consistent, and let discipline reshape you. Before long, the person you used to be will look nothing like the person you've become. That's the miracle of discipline. It takes the ordinary and turns it into extraordinary.